The Victorian era began in 1837, when Victoria became queen, and finished in 1901. In 1882, Britain was the most powerful empire of the globe. When Victoria's reign ended, the British Empire covered more than one-fifth of the Earth's surface. When the First Industrial Revolution was beginning to take place, the Queen acceded to the throne. New markets, new changes, and a better economy were brought with industrialization. For instance, towns and cities expanded and got bigger. These changes symbolized Britain's progress, but also were a symbol of poverty and depraved habits. Although the advantages in medicine, progress in public health was really slow. This had something to do with healthy skepticism about experts' opinions. This golden period witnessed a fantastic revival of art and architecture in Britain. New designs and antique shapes can be seen on the streets during the Victorian era, which was characteristic because antique styles such as Gothic, folk, arts and craft and Romanesque revived.
Characteristics of Victorian era. This is the era of invention, engineering marvels and remarkable technological advances. Throughout, the speed of change was very quick. The movement was easier by the arrival of the steam train. Suddenly, it was possible to travel great distances at speeds hitherto unimaginable. It means that people could now move easily around, and with them ideas. As travel was cheapened, most could afford to travel on the new railways and experience new destinations. The population could move as they wished, changing jobs, town status, etc. This freedom has huge impact on building. Architects and patrons traveled extensively, becoming inspired by the many forms of regional, national and international architecture. With this new way of travel, their ideas about building were revolutionized. They used parts of old buildings in the new to mix together windows, doors and carvings, blending styles and sources. Of course, a lot of people associate the Victorians with the point arch of the Gothic revival. However, this was but one of the architectural styles that inspired them. Classical architecture remained popular, so too Byzantine, Romanesque, Elizabethan and Italian, even Japanese. These are the styles of that time: New Gothic, with color walls and asymmetrical forms; Romanesque Revival, with plans similar to the Romanic architecture; Second Empire, with rectangular and square plans; Queen Anne, the most famous style during this period, with multiple roof and irregular plans; and Jacobean style, with columns in order to enlarge the porches and tall chimneys. It is based on the English Renaissance styles.
In spite of the existence of a lot of styles in this era, these variants also have common features. Textured wall surfaces, scalloped shingles, patterned masonry or half timbering are used to dress up Victorian siding. Wood or stone exterior. Most of the Victorian styles use wood. One-story poke, a very big, wrap-around poke with ornamental spindles and brackets is very common, especially in the Queen Anne style. Victorian homes usually have complicated shapes. Victorian homes have wings and bays in a lot of directions. Decorative trim, normally called gingerbread. Victorian homes are decorated with elaborate wood or sometimes with metal trim. Steep, multi-faced roof or mansard roof. Victorian homes often have steep, imposing roof lines with many glabs facing in different directions. Vibrant colors. By 1887, bright earth tones like burnt sienna and mustard yellow were in vogue. 2 to 3 stories. Victorian homes are normally very big. Towers. Some high-end Victorian homes are embellished with a round or octagonal tower with a steep pointed roof. The Victorian era coincided with the British immigration to the US, so there we can also find this style. As we can see in the pictures, there are a lot of differences in the design and construction from one place to another. The first picture is a London building in which we can see all the characteristics we explained before, and the second one is the South End district in Boston. We can see that it is the Victorian style because it has house extensions, for example, but less decorated.
During this period, a lot of constructions were built, making London the new city rebuilt by Queen Victoria and the Prince Albert, and changing its name to the Brick City. This style was used mainly for the construction of private houses, but there are public buildings too. The first picture that we can see is the Westminster Palace, also called Parliament Houses of London. It is one of the most important constructions, which includes the Big Ben Tower. In 1834, this palace was burnt and only being saved the hall. Charles Barry and August Pugin were the responsibles to build again, and in 1847 it was finished. The second that we can see is the Osborne House. It is a former royal residence in the First Coast, in UK. The house was built by Thomas Cubitt between 1845 and 1851 for the Queen Victoria and Prince Albert as their summer home and royal retreat. The next picture is the Town Hall in Manchester. Designed by the architect Alfred Waterhouse, the town house was complete in 1877. It is the ceremonial headquarters of Manchester City Council and houses of a number of local government departments. The last one is the Oxford University, which is the oldest university in the English-speaking world. It was built in 1096, but until the Victorian era it was suffering change. The Industrial Revolution took place from 1760 until 1820. During this period, the whole world suffers a lot of transformations, especially in agriculture, textile and metal manufacture, transportation, economic policies and the social structure. This period was characterized by a change to power, special purpose machinery, factories and mass production. The most important things were the iron and textile industries and the steam engine, due to its development, which was also better were the transport systems, communication and banking. In spite of the improvement of some things, like the productivity and variety of manufactured products, it led to the unemployment and because of that, worse living conditions than before, among the middle and poor classes. The Industrial Revolution, due to the new iron production processes, became important for the architecture in this period. Thus, iron was introduced since this moment in almost all constructions. We can see that in the Tower Bridge construction, located in the City of London.
One of the most important buildings of this time was the Crystal Palace. The Crystal Palace was a huge glass and iron structure, originally built in 1851 for the Great Exhibition in London's Hyde Park. Prince Albert, who was the head of the Society of Arts, had the idea of an exhibition to impress the world with Britain's industrial achievements. Some countries like France, the United States, Russia, Turkey and Egypt attended with exhibits falling in four main categories: raw materials, machinery. The palace was designed by Sir Joseph Paxton, and after the Great Exhibition finished in October 1851, he had the idea of moving it into Penge Place Estate as a winter park and garden under glass. Nothing perhaps symbolizes the pride of the Victorian era more than the Great Exhibition. It was organized by Henry Cole and Prince Albert. The exhibition was opened by Queen Victoria in May and it ran until 15th October. The whole building was enormous and it became the world's first theme park offering education, entertainment and a roller coaster. The site attracted 2 million visitors a year and was also home to festivals, music shows and over 100,000 soldiers during the First World War. Part of the gardens included a prehistoric swamp complete with models of dinosaurs. They were the first prehistoric animals ever built and came round 30 years after dinosaurs were discovered. However, the palace fell into financial ruin and a series of fires spelled the end of this building. In 1861, the palace was damaged by strong winds and on Sunday 13th December, a fire broke out, destroying the north end of the building, along with many natural history exhibits. Although the palace saw many successful years and millions of visitors, financial problems plagued the palace. Its size meant it was impossible to maintain financially and it was declared bankrupt in 1911. However, it was the night of 13th November that saw the most important devastation. A huge fire broke out across the building. By morning, most of the palace was destroyed. Some of the original remains that can still be seen today, terraces, sphinxes, and huge bust of Joseph Paxton.